All right, welcome everybody to another live stream presented by Paradime. In these live streams, this is live stream number 8. We have been going over DinoAI, which is our AI agent inside of our code IDE. And each week we're going over our latest features and our latest updates. And this week, Fabio is going to show us a few more of our latest updates that we're all really excited about. So with no further ado, Fabio, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Parker. Yes, super excited about what we're launching in this webinar today. So one of the problem or challenges we saw with prompt in general is that we often tend to repeat ourselves writing the same thing on and on and on within the chat input. So what we're solving now for users and teams is to actually have a much more collaborative experience around how to work with prompt, how to design better prompt, and how to use them as part of their development experience. So our chat panel got a new addition, a few actually, the first one being the prompt button. What this allows to do is effectively to fetch and reuse a bunch of prompts that have been designed. We provide out of the box a set of existing ones that we see here. And what this allows us to do is effectively to work with DinoAI without having to write our prompts on and on and on. So let's take an example, updating a DB sources file. That's something that happens quite commonly. We want to make sure that we can bring some sort of standardization in the way how we do this. So we have now a prompt available where automatically we'll be going and fetching the content of the current open file. We'll show later on how that actually works with variable. And it's as simple as just selecting which prompt we want. Right now it's selected f1 sources.yaml, which means the result when I press the send button. What we're going to be doing now is just send this prompt to the agent. We're adding the additional context that is required for updating our YAML file. And now the DinoAI agent will just go ahead and do its magic. So again, it's fetching our data from the database. It's then looking at the YAML files to see what needs to be updated. It found one a table that required changes, and now it's going ahead and fetching additional information from the table so that the schema.yaml can be updated. So when we think about how can we make sure that Teams works in a very standardized ways and fashion, how we can make sure that now teams can collaborate about sharing and reusing the best prompts available to them, and how we can make sure that we don't have to type the same thing on and on and on. Now prompts are available out of the box in Paradime there. So we'll wait now to complete the process of updating these sources, and then we'll look at a few other examples as well. But I'm super excited about this. I think with AI, one of the key core behavior we want to introduce for users is how can they write better prompt and how they can reuse them and how they can share them in a collaborative way with their team. The other exciting things about this that we'll see in a second is around how can we use variables within the prompt. So that's something that we just saw just now in terms of being able to understand which file I had open. And this is actually something pretty powerful and exciting for us. So we're planning to add more and more and more variables for the prompts as part of DinoAI. The other thing that as this gets generated, here we go. So again, DinoAI was powerful enough to go and identify exactly in which location. You fetch all the columns name, you fetch all the data types, and now I can simply go ahead and click on accept, and this file has been updated for me. So let's take a look, as I mentioned now, a little bit more on the prompts and how prompts works. So if I click on my DinoPrompt file, so for context, DinoPrompt is similar to what we have in DinoRole. So it's a file that sits in your repository. And this, I'll just collapse this for a sec for visibility. This DinoPrompts file is basically how you can build your library of reusable prompts. So if you scroll down, we'll see those are the ones that are kind of like loaded by default when you're when using DinoAI. You can change them, you can modify them, of course. So I have one that generates full description, updated sources of the YAML, generate them, generate model for sources, refactor DBT models, document and test DBT model. So the good thing is that if we were to write the same prompt on and on and on, most likely we will end up writing slightly different version of the same prompt. So like this, we can actually create a library, we can reuse it. And some of you are probably familiar with gingers and curly brackets. So what we implemented for this is the ability to use variable within the prompt. This means that when we are actually using the prompt, we can infer or fetch additional context based on the variable provided. So for example, here we have editor.currentFilePath, which means that we add to the prompt when we are sending the prompt to the agent, the ability to fetch the file that is currently open, which is what we saw just now. But also we have other things like git diff with origin default branch, which you can look in a few minutes on how to create pull requests. So let's go ahead and take another example now. So classic one is, let's say I'm going to create and start a new chat. I go on prompts and I want to, let's say, document and test my DBT model. So it's a pretty long prompt, but it's actually pretty powerful because it's defined a set of rules. Then we want to make sure that the agent is going to follow when generating the description. So I can, again, because this prompt uses the variable of current file path, which means that it's the file that is currently open in my editor, we automatically attach the context from that file itself. So if I go ahead and press send, now, again, we are sending the context to the agent with our request, and it's going to go ahead and automatically understand to read our file and ultimately generate the YAML files that we want with the descriptions and the tests provided. So we are seeing already with existing users how this speed up massively how people interact with our agent, but more importantly, how they can get a consistent and repeatable experience when generating YAML files, documentation, whether it's test or simply generating model and creating aliases and so on. So that's something that, yeah, super excited about what's coming forward. I'm really looking forward also for what users are coming up in terms of prompts as well. So as this while this is completing, the next thing I want to show now is about how we can actually edit it. So what the editing process looks like for generating this prompt or rules there. So while this gets generated, so I'll just go ahead and open this file now. Ultimately, this is YAML, which means that as soon as we add a YAML formatted prompt, this will be made available for us in the menu as well. So now I have my newly generated YAML files. It follows our Dino rules in terms of how we want this to be configured. And now I can go ahead and click on accept, and now the new file is created there. Now, let's say I want to update my prompt with something new. I have one that I pre-prepared already. So I'll just gonna maybe collapse this for a sec. I'm on a bit of a small screen today. It's as simple as just providing a name and then the prompt with the pipe to make sure that we maintain spaces. So what I have here is a prompt to generate a memory diagram. And the prompt says, help me create a memory diagram for this model. And I pass the variable of the current file with the following considerations. So follow best practice to make sure that you use a clear and concise node labels, maintain consistent styling, include relationship description. If it's about DBT lineage, make sure that you show the relationship that are using ref and source dependencies and so on, and make sure that you save this as an MMD file. What this means in practice, if I go now and I open my model again, I can click on new chat. And I go and select my prompt. And you see now I have the new prompt available in my list. So I can just click on this one. And now we load it in your chat panel and we can press send. And we are effectively now just passing the prompt with the context that we want within the agent, so we can create this file. So it's going ahead now and create this memory file. So Paradime support memory out of the box within our editor, meaning that you can actually generate it with DinoAI, but you can also render them. That can be actually quite useful when handling complex models, and we want to make sure that we have some sort of like artifacts available for the users. So again, if I can go ahead and click on accept, and now I click on my preview button. It's small now, but let's see if we can zoom in. I can see now we have our memory diagrams with all the relationship build and some additional some additional visibility on how this model has been built for us. Okay, can actually probably some here as well. So this is from perspective. Last thing we want to do, of course, is let's say we're going to go ahead and write our commits so we can wrap this up on this front there. Last thing, we've been very early on when we start building AI features in Paradime. One of the things we built was generating commits using AI. But now with DinoAI, we can also generate pull requests, which I'm also very excited about it. So if I go ahead and click on next, we have one of our prompts already built in, which is the general pull request description. And using some of the variable we have, we automatically do the diffing between my current branch and the default branch in my repository, so that if I go and you see summary of changes, motivation of the changes, how to test changes, I can go ahead and click on send here. And now DinoAI will basically look at the diff, generate a pull request description for us that we can take it away and paste it inside our pull request when we go ahead and open it. So again, a lot of automation, a lot of making sure that we provide all the context required for the agent in a way, but also for user when we are creating pull request and provide all the information required to get this pull request approved super quickly. So that's all from the Dino prompt. I'm going to start a new chat now. I want to show you something else. So something we build at Paradime, we wanted to make sure that we could provide our user with a way to activate credit save mode. So how can we help user to spend less credit, how to be more efficient with prompting? We cannot give for granted that users will have all the best practices and all things around how to be more efficient writing the best prompt. And we know that there are LLMs have max context windows. So we built what we called a credit saver mode within Paradime. And what this allows us to do is that the system will effectively learn from what we're using and automatically enter credit saving mode so that the user can actually spend less credit within Paradime. As a result, they can generate a lot more code and use a lot more of the AI functionality within DinoAI. So how do we do this? Let's take an example. I'm going to write a message here which says, can you please document all my models in the staging folder? And I'm going to add as context my directory path, and I'm going to type staging here. Okay, and press enter. So we'll see now what we'll do. We will start creating documentation for each of those files. And something that we'll do as this happens is it will understand that because it's moving to a new task, it will automatically go ahead and summarize effectively what has been done so far. So the context that is available to the current shot or current thread will not be lost, but we will be actually working on reducing the amounts of credit that are used in this conversation so that users can stay on the flow and generate more code, more documentation, more YAML without overspending of credit. So that's something actually very exciting for us. And we're super excited to see this now being released in Paradime. I think a lot of users, they're kind of like starting their AI journey, and there's a lot of domain knowledge around how to be more effective around context management and credit management and how to increase relevancy. So right now, users, they actually don't have to think about that anymore. They can just simply do the work, and the agent will sort of like take care of do the summarization for them. So hopefully this will now trigger what we're after. It's kind of interesting now. We don't have a lot of control on this. So hopefully the agent will decide that this is going to be enough of a thread based on what we are generating. Let's give it a few minutes.
And Fabio, while that's loading, I'm curious with credit save mode, what's an example that you've seen with our users where if they have credit save mode turned on, it will actually save them a lot of credits, potentially a lot of money?
Yeah, so one of the closest example I've seen is how users tend to, for example, let's say I start by creating a model, and then I'm adding some tests and then some documentation, and then maybe I go to another model, or maybe I continue with the same chat, but starting a different thread. Okay, here you go. So now basically what happened is, because the agent is starting to document new models, effectively what is deciding to do is, well, I don't need the full context from the previous SQL file as count, effectively. So it's deciding to go and summarize them. So it's still part of the memory and the context available, but not in the full length. So particularly somebody has large SQL files, which can happen quite commonly. What will happen is we'll go and switch from one task to another one, and as a result, our thread will become extremely long, and more credit will be used to keep that context available within the agent, where actually often you don't need to. So here, after documenting a few of this DBT model, I'll give an example here. So after documenting these 2 DBT models, we actually don't need them anymore. And the agent was able to recognize that and enter credit segment mode. So we keep some knowledge of what has happened so far, but not the full list of tokens that have been used. So I think this is extremely powerful for users, mainly around how now users don't have to think about this anymore, which is actually what makes this feature special. You can just go ahead and do your work, and DinoAI will take care of being efficient, whatever is needed to, and choose not to whenever you need a lot of context there. Cool. Awesome. So this is from credit segment mode. It just does a job pretty much, which is saving your credits. I use it, which is pretty cool. The last thing now, I'm going to start a new chat here. And I want to show you the last feature we're going to be talking through this live stream, which is voice to text. So I think we started from, you have to type every single time what you have to do within the chat input, to then, hey, you can actually build Dino prompt, so you can one-click enter things within the chat input. But we took this even further. So now you can actually talk with the DinoAI panel with DinoAI agent. So there's definitely use cases where you maybe want to kind of like riff around different ideas or things that you don't want to necessarily type one per one within there. So let's take as an example a use case here, and how does it work. So it's as simple as I can start and click on record audio, and now I'm going to start talking. Hey, I want to write some DBT unit tests. Can you tell me a little bit more of how they work and how they can be used in my DBT project? So I can now press button, make maybe a little bit here, and now press send here. I'll take the other one. Okay. There you go. So I could just basically talk with the agent, tell them what I want to do. The agent was able to then just listen to all my things and then start doing its own search and its own information and generating all at once. So in this case, I'm asking some more information, but effectively, it could be about generating code or describing or documenting. Like, I found this to be quite exciting as a use case where, let's say we build some SQL and we have some complex logic. We can actually talk to the agent and say, hey, this is why I have this case statement, and this is the kind of use cases I'm tracking, so that the agent can actually follow that through and generate the documentation and add that domain knowledge I have as I've been generating that the SQL and Python SQL. So I'm super curious to see how people will actually find a balance between typing prompts, using voice to text there, but we're seeing this as an additional way of how now user can interact and have this sort of like AI agentic experience in Paradime tightly coupled to their day-to-day usage, whether that is generating documentation, generating pull description, using repeatable prompts, or just simply talk to the agent to generate all the artifacts in one shot. So yeah, super excited also for those features and what's coming next.
And Another question for you, Fabio. So going back to credit save mode, do you recommend that Paradigm users should always have it on, or are there scenarios where you think you should leave it off?
Good question. So the beauty of credit save mode is that the users don't have to think about it. So it will just go on and off as required based on the type of conversation you have. What we, of course, what I suggest to users all the time is that it's always good to start new threads or new conversation when you're doing a completely set of new tasks. So if you're documenting models and then suddenly you decide to create a new pipeline, it's recommended to kind of like start fresh or start a new thread altogether. Not necessarily from a credit consumption perspective, but it's just you will have better relevancy when creating those files and working with the project. So it's not a requirement, but I personally do it. I recommend everyone to do it. And it's just a better way of interacting with the agent and starting with a fresh memory whenever you don't need anything of the previous task you've completed.
Okay. So in addition to leveraging credit save mode with DinoAI, if you're starting a new topic, a new task, use a new thread. That's probably best practice to continue saving new credits and just speeding up performance.
That's right. That's right. And also relevancy is very important here because ultimately you're building up memory in one conversation. And if you don't need that memory anymore, there's just no need for the agent to know about it. So you will kind of like start fresh and there's less opportunity for the agent to come up with slightly different responses that are not expected.
Great. Before we sign off, Fabio, is there any last minute things we want to cover? Any questions you want to answer?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I'm super curious to see what our user will come up with in terms of prompts and how to build them. But I think there is definitely a shift in the way how people are now interacting with the AI agent. And we're kind of like at the forefront of this with Paradime to support all those different means of interaction that a user can leverage. So I'm super excited about that.
And we're always making it better. Like next week, we're doing another live stream about new DinoAI features. So in addition to releasing a feature like talk to text with the prompts, we will be improving the credit saver mode. We'll be improving any feature we discuss. So we're very excited about it.
Yeah. Did you know here the next one is mind reading? I don't have to talk.
Oh, it's mind reading. Perfect.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen. Yeah.
It's going to be a complete AI avatar of Fabio, voice and all.
I'll just have to think about a SQL statement and it'll just go and write it for me.
Great. Well, that concludes today's session. We will have another one next week for you and the week after that and the week after that. So thank you for tuning in and we will see you soon. Thank you, Fabio.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.